What is up, guys? This is John, aka Pokemon, and today I am going to be introducing you guys to a brand new Draft League team and format, and that the team is the Atlanta Falinks. But I'm not alone, and the reason for that is we're doing a weird thing, Ben. We're doing a new team and a new form. What's going on?
Hello, it's General Tar Heel, or Ben. So Kelly, our good friend under the radar, decided he wanted to make a new league since draft format's kind of like being on the down low right now, not as fun because of what Pokemon might be doing with the timer and such, so we wanted to pick it up. So we decided to have a league that like promotes ghosting. You work as a team together, 2v2 in a singles format for Battles for Draft League, and I knew that my boy John would be the perfect teammate for this, as I help John build a lot very often, as you know, John.
Very much so, yes. A lot of my success I had, especially in the last season, the only person keeping me sane was Ben, and that's a reason we're both really excited for this. You know, not only is it going to be a breath of fresh air, but Draft League can get really, really lonely at times, and everything with Draft League was based on the NFL at first. And something I've always thought about, and I know not a ton of other people think about it, but we based this on a league where the players are paid millions of dollars. You lose, you spend the entire season losing, it still can suck, but your life's still great. You just decide to do Draft League for fun. This is your hobby. You go in the league, you do terribly, all of the comments tell you you suck and you're awful. You don't get anything out of it. You're just kind of sad afterwards, you know? It's kind of brutal. And being able to do something like this where at the very least you get to go in with a friend, you're having fun, you know, it's not all on you. You can kind of share the burden, share the joy, share everything with it. I feel like it's going to make it a lot more fun. I'm really excited to get into this, and I felt like Atlanta Falinks was perfect for us. You know, I love the name Atlanta Falcons. If you don't know where that's coming from, I love Falinks. You love using my emotes. I have 2 Falinks emotes. I mean, it's a match made in heaven here.
It truly is. We both knew immediately that we wanted to make a team with Falinks because we absolutely love this Pokemon. I know it's John's favorite period this gen, that's correct?
Yes, yeah, no, it's... Yeah. One of the best Pokemon I've ever come up with. It's so unique and so creative. Yeah, no, very much, very, very much love it. We drew the logo together in paint. Now, I at one point was considering getting a really, really cool logo made of this. If we do a second season, I'll consider shelling out the money to make a very high quality one, but maybe we'll just stick with paint. But right now we have a theme going on. We have a paint beautiful logo we made together with friendship, and now we're going to do a draft analysis painting all of the Pokemon. It's going to be fantastic, and like trying to give you guys actual reasons of why we drafted the things we drafted, because I think we have a pretty good team, and we liked a lot of the similar Pokemons and a similar play style, so I feel like we did this pretty well, and I feel like, you know, we'll be able to play well together with it. But Ben, I don't actually remember who's drawing first, who's speaking first.
Well, before we get right into that, so just for like the basics of the draft, it was just the standard tier format, but of course there's no option of a Mega or Gigantamax in this case. We all agreed Dynamax is broken and we banned it. So we still wanted 11 Pokemon though. So basically we just opted of another required tier 4. So basically we just have the standard tier 1, tier 2, 2 tier 3s, 2 tier 4s, tier 5, and then 400 free points with the necessary tiers. So working off of that, I knew that John and I would be able to make a very strong team together, as we've already planned drafts before. And like he said, we have very similar minds when it comes to builds.
And I created this draft format, so I'm very used to it. It should not still be around. The fact that teams or the leagues are still using this is very wild. Big fan. Like to throw it out there. Here in the 400 extra points, Ben, I spent weeks trying to get that right. It was very upsetting. I didn't like it. I wanted to get 1,000 points per. It was a lot of work. Whatever. We're here. We got a team, and honestly, this is probably the most satisfied I've been with a draft in quite some time. You're good at the old draft league format. I know you've had a lot of success, but I don't know if you've had any teams like this recently where I don't know. I got warm fuzzies looking at the team.
I'm very happy with it, to be honest, and I hope the people are also going to enjoy it, and the fact that our drawings don't completely murder any happiness that we're trying to get with them. So, comments, make sure also let us know who had the best drawings in this video. That's important.
It's important and scary, because I also said before, let's do this off of memory, so that's not great.
And the league basically just wanted highlighted fun, so that's why we did our logo in paint. We're going to do this in paint. And to even the highlight on all the drawing, to decide the draft order, we did Scribblio. If y'all know what Scribblio is, we did it with only Pokemon, and that was a really fun experience. and your boy played for the Atlanta Falinks, and I got second, so that means we got the second draft pick overall, which was amazing. Unfortunately, that means we didn't get Melmetal, because of course that went first.
Should it have been allowed?
No.
Nah, not at all.
Kelly already regrets it, and we're only a week into it. So,
but we would have drafted it, so I mean, fair is fair.
So we decided we wanted to go for the very next best thing, of course, that we thought was on the board apart from Melmetal, which is really tough. That thing's out of its own league for sure. We debated a few things. John and I both really like speed in the format and everything. And John, I think I'm going to let you draw this first one because you were complaining about it before, so I feel like it'd be amazing for you to start it off.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, this is actually one of the picks. We were pretty in lockstep with most of the draft. I think this is the one where we put the most thought into it. Now, we're both very happy with the pick. It's not like we had any like arguments after the fact. But Zeraora is what we decided. Now, I'm trying to draw what I remember the picture being from memory. I should just drawing... I can't speak. I'm so scared, Ben. This is going to be so bad. This should just be a cat. I should just be making a cat.
It's already so bad.
Yeah, no,
I literally could have just drawn an electric cat.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I should have just done that, but now we're doing this. But Zeraora, it goes really, really well with things I've used in the past. Like, I'm one of the only people... I mean, Kelly likes to yell at me and tell me it's a terrible Pokemon, regardless of the success I've had with it, but I love using Electrode in the format. I just love having that elite speed. I really, really love fast electric types, and Zeraora is like Electrode, but like not bad. This is
I agree.
Really
I always
bad.
loved using Electrode too for that budget speed and electric type, but Zeraora is actually an insane electric type. Currently running like the standard like OU meta and everything, but who cares about standard laddering? Meow. Plasma Fist and Volt Absorb is just so good. Its coverage is so good. Being able to be mixed is huge. The speed with Taunt's nice. Setup bulk is epic. Zeraora is just really good at what it does. It's going to be an amazing revenge killer. Pivot with Volt Switch and everything like that. So basically, we were kind of set on between Zeraora or like Cinderace, and the more we looked at it, Zeraora is just a better version of Cinderace because it has more usage. It doesn't get court change, which is very nice on Cinderace, but Zeraora is just a lot more of a threat. It can sweep a lot more teams late game than Cinderace can. And it has a strong move that's its special move in Plasma Fist that can't miss, like Pyro Ball can for Cinderace and everything like that.
And a really big thing is, since Ben was such a kind friend and helped me a lot with building teams in the WBE, we really got to like think at the same time to really see how the format was in singles there. And the number one thing I noticed was Weavile. I remember talking with him when I drafted it. Like, I really think this will be underrated. I don't think people are going to be ready for the elite speed of this Pokemon in a format that has a lot less speed than we're used to. And this is way fast. It's just way better in so many ways than a Weavile. Yes, Weavile's been a little bit nerfed this gen without some of its best moves. But having this speed tier, every week people will prep for this Pokemon because you have to. It's going to outspeed all of the other Pokemon everyone has. You're going to have a Scarfer to outspeed it. And even if we don't bring it, it's going to be something that really, really hurts other opponents as they're trying to prep. So I think, for me, that's the most important thing with your first pick. You need to get something that other teams are like, you want to get them in a box. Yeah, you want to make sure prepping for your team is a nightmare with that first one. But Ben, I think we're ready to move on. I think I'm done with embarrassing myself with this. I think he has some blue, right? Is there some blue in this?
Yeah, I think it's around his tummy.
Blue. All right, that wraps that up. Ben, what was our next pick as I erased this monstrosity?
Well, the next pick is actually the one thing that we knew we wanted before the draft even started. We just knew it wasn't worth a second overall pick in the draft, and that is a very monstrous Pokemon that I'm going to start drawing that is named Haxorus. John, if you want to lay the people down on what this dragon type can do.
Yeah, so Haxorus is a really, really cool Pokemon. I've always loved Haxorus. I mean, at first it started just with the design of it, but when you see that monstrous attack stat attached to a dragon Pokemon, and it has pretty decent coverage, or even back in the day, it always had decent coverage, but these days, this Pokemon has just gotten way better with the addition of close combat, and as we saw against Mr. Joey Pokeyame, first impression. Now, this is a Pokemon where we kind of just saw with him last season WBE, you can just bring it every week banded, and there's nothing your opponent can do about it. And that's not the only thing Haxorus can do. This is also a Pokemon that can set up with a Swords Dance, set up with Dragon Dance. You know, maybe it can be a little bit bulkier, throw an Assault Vest on it, as a really good speed stat with 97, especially in this generation, just with the Pokemon that are currently allowed. I mean, this Pokemon is always threatening, starts a Dragon Fairy Steel Core, and I think there's a lot of ways you can use it. You know, when people see this thing, I think a lot of the time this is just going to be a nuke. And, you know, maybe you just think it's going to be Choice Scarf or, you know, Choice Banded. But now with the setup options, you know, the ability to just throw a berry on there, take a specific hit, still do a ton of damage to anything on the opponent. You have to be ready for it. You have to get checks and counters ready depending on what's on your team. And I think this is going to be really, really tough for other teams to handle.
Look how scary this thing is.
Ben, why is it green?
Isn't Haxorus green?
I thought he was like more yellow. I mean, it's kind of like a yellowish green, but...
I mean, I just went with like the best color that looked like...
This looks like the Geico lizard, man. I'm really worried about... I mean... Yeah. Okay, good. I'm glad that you're really making sure
you're living on 15% or less.
That brought it back. That was beautiful. Do you have any, you know, other final things to say about the Haxorus pick? Because it's one of those Pokemon that's kind of straightforward, but I'm really excited to use this.
I mean, not really. You covered everything. It's just going to be an insane wall breaker, and pairing it with Zeraora is going to be huge. I have to give him nice little footsies real quick.
Oh, yeah.
And then it's just going to do monstrous damage. That's really all it's going to be here for, is either set up potential sweep, just sweeping with like Choice Scarf or Choice Band at the end game. Revenge killing with First Impression is going to be huge. That really was a massive buff, like you said. And, I mean, not really like anything else. We just wanted to have, like, we have an amazing speed pivot now, and now having an insane wall breaker, that's a really good start to an offensive core. And the Dragon Fairy Steel Core, like you mentioned.
And I really want to emphasize that 97, it is 97 speed, I'm not crazy, right?
97.
Yeah, that's incredible in this format. Mm-hmm. You know, back in, you know, Gen 7, Gen 6 and older draft leagues, it's pretty solid, but I mean, really right now with just the lack of speed in general, I think this is really going to surprise people of how many teams it almost outspeeds everything on there. And the fact that it has Dragon Dance, my God, it's going to be tough. But next up, something that I am confident I can actually kind of draw. What would that be, Mr. Ben?
If you can't get this, John, I'm going to be a little worried. All right, so next we want to get a staple in the draft. Now, I don't think we mentioned this, but there's only a total of 7 other teams, not including us, so a total of 8. And we really want to value our picks because we know other people are going to value theirs.
And I'm a draft nerd.
They might get some lower stuff a little bit sooner. So we decided we want to go ahead and get a staple in our Dragon Fairy Steel Core. And this is a Pokemon that we both really enjoy and think is very reliable in what it does. And that is the Steel type in Bronzong. I just felt like having a Steel type with Levitate is going to be huge when our main Pokemon that we're going to bring most weeks is going to be that Zeraora, which definitely wants to have something that can at least help somewhat check grounds. Bronzong comes in with Levitate, doesn't have to worry about a ground type unless there's Gravity or Mold Breaker like Excadrill, and then it can freely Toxic them if it's not like a grounded Steel type or something like that. We're able to wear it down to where Zeraora can win in the late game. This is also our first Stealth Rocker, which is huge. Bronzong does a great job just getting up rocks, even if that's all it does for the whole game, because we can easily make it to where we get rid of the Defogger with the insane offense we have, and then Bronzong just gets up rocks and that chip continuously stays there, which is really nice. It doesn't have reliable recovery, but if it did, this Pokemon would be absolutely busted. Its bulk is just so good, and running leftovers on it is pretty free, and just because of having like such fat stats in either defense or SPDF, it can easily be mixed every week and do exactly what we need to every week.
Yeah, it's getting something this reliable is really, really important, because this is when you get to the part of the draft where things start going really, really quickly, and being able to pair, you know, something with Zeraora immediately, getting a Steel type, because there's not too many really good Steel types, especially as you go farther into the draft. But, you know, I know in my draft, at least the only one I've done so far in this generation, did not have reliable Stealth Rocks, and if you don't get that early, if you don't get something that you know you're going to bring and be able to get those hazards up, you're kind of just out of luck at that point. So little poop rocks around him, just because that is important.
Look at all that chip right there, just waiting to happen.
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, look at this. So that would be that pick, which is pretty great. And the next one, Ben, this is pretty big. Is you're the one drawing this, pal. You can't really mess this up, but
I can't. I'm gonna get roasted if I do.
The interesting thing with this next pick is, unlike Haxorus, this isn't something we went into the draft thinking we were gonna get. Which, yeah, you'd probably think knowing me, but the next Pokemon we got was Mamoswine, and this is a Pokemon I truly love in the Draft League format. Now. Oh, I know what you're doing. But while this is my favorite Pokemon overall, I've tried not to draft it too many times in Draft League because I know I'm a little bit more biased with it. But as time's gone on, whenever I face... Oh, come on, man. Whenever I face someone who has a Mamoswine, I've just realized how difficult it is to prep for this Pokemon. Just the ground ice coverage is so terrifying and so good offensively. Most teams don't have anything that can truly just handle Mamoswine. There's not a lot of counters in the format. And even if you do have a counter, it's probably going to decimate the other 10 Pokemon you have. This Mon is fantastic in all ways. Offensively, it's incredible. Solid, bulk, solid speed. It has the ability to get hazards up. Incredible priority. Unbelievably strong Earthquake. This is a really, really cool Mon. Thick Fat's a great ability. Also, Oblivious, it can't be taunted, right? I'm not insane.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a big one. So you're going to be able to get up Stealth Rocks without being taunted.
Why? I changed the color.
And also, it's a pick that makes me happy. But I think this paired with the speed we have with Zeraora, the scary power we have with Haxorus, another new speed tier, which is really, really nice. And I think it just really adds to how difficult it will be for teams to prep for us and be able to tank hits in general. I know I probably missed a few other things. So what do you have to add, Mr. Mamolurk?
So one of the main things that we wanted to get with Zeraora is something that really forces people to bring bulky waters. Mamoswine does that 100% of the time.
Yep.
That's one of the very, very few checks to Mamoswine, is a nice, fat, bulky water. And people won't be able to properly counter it because we're going to have Zeraora. It's going to be really difficult for them to work around it. So as long as we're able to just wall break with this and Zeraora and having a Haxorus, this is already huge for an offensive core. This is absolutely insane. And how does my Pokemon lurk?
Oh, it's as lurky as can be. I'm a happy guy. Subscribe on Twitch for Mamo Lurk. But
and then you can spam Pokemon Lurk in the chat like I do every stream.
And it'll be incredible. After all of our victories, just Mamo Lurks all over the place. Everyone will be happy. People will be weeping for joy. But next up, we talked about bulky water types we want to destroy. We actually got one I was really excited about I can't erase this. This is it.
No, I got it.
That's on you. But we got one that I felt fit multiple roles, and it just fit our team perfectly. And it wasn't one of those situations where in the past I remember getting Empoleon because I needed Defog and Stealth Rock and bulky water and Steel type. That's too much. But getting Primarina and just needing it to be a mermaid type thing that goes pow and takes hits, not too bad. So its face is white, so I don't really know how I can't draw.
Just draw the outline.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Even though Primarina is the water type, originally when we were looking into the plan for this next pick, we really wanted to highlight on the fairy typing to go ahead and complete that Dragon Fairy Steel core between Haxorus, Bronzong, and now Primarina. Originally, we did value Bronzong, and we didn't notice that Sylveon was still around. So on the plan, John got my hopes up by saying Sylveon's still around, and then Thank you for listening.
It's not gonna get much better.
Continue. So on the plan, we originally had Sylveon, and of course that didn't make it back. It was really unrealistic once we drafted Bronzong, but that's totally fine. Primarina actually worked better in the long run for the plans that we were deciding on. Just having that water type already with the fairy is huge, and we'll try to highlight on a Wish Passer and a Bronzong soon.
Dude, this is a Poplio. What's happening?
You know what? That's good enough. Primarina, worst starter in Gen 7, but either way, it's a very solid starter. If I made you upset, I'm sorry. Not really. But Primarina is just able to wall break like crazy and still be a bulky type, or a bulky like fairy type and water type if we needed to. It doesn't have reliable recovery, unfortunately, but this thing is able to break so solid. I think it's just shy of base 130 in the special attack stat. I think it's like base 125 or something like that. And so running like modest specs with Moonblast and like Scald or anything like that just hits like a truck. It's absolutely insane. Even gets coverage for like Energy Ball for opposing bulky waters that might want to try and wall it. So this is looking like a very solid water doggo you got going on, John.
Yeah, so I don't know why I said we should do these from memory. That I set myself up for failure. That was a terrible idea.
This is absolutely more entertaining though.
Oh, yeah, no, and people are definitely going to enjoy making fun of me. And you know what? Fair is fair. The game is the game. What are you going to do about that? I added the pink, so everyone remembers that this is a beautiful mermaid. I feel like that's important. I don't want anyone to see anything but a gorgeous, beautiful mermaid that's going to bring us to the promised land. So that is what... Okay, there. I think... Yeah, I think I've made my point. I think people know what's going on here. And I mean, I'd say so far into the draft, like, you know, there's a few things that we wanted to draft that we weren't able to. Like, Sylveon was something we really wanted to pair with Bronzong. Would have been nice to have that wish capability. But instead of getting Sylveon, we just get a nuke like Primarina to pair with Hax. So we have a special nuke, physical nuke. We have our Dragon Fairy Steel Core already. We're beginning our Water, Fire, Grass Core. Mamoswine is an unbelievably scary offensive Pokemon to pair with it. You know, we have a nice ground Pokemon. So we have the electric immunity. We have ground immunity, which is really, really nice. Like, things are really working out well. But the number one thing at this point that we felt like we were missing was hazard removal, which is another thing this generation. Hey, smaller pool of Pokemon, you have to get on that quickly. We might have waited a little bit too long, but I think it actually worked out for us in the end. Let me erase this gorgeous beast. And Ben, what was the next thing we drafted?
So we wanted to try to get one of the best budget defoggers or removers, any form of hazard control that we could get, just in case we wanted to get a more important role later on in the higher tiers, like if we needed more bulk or if we wanted something more offensive, pivot, something like that. So we wanted to make sure we could get like the best removal down low. And in my opinion and John's opinion, we thought that was Xatu. Xatu is a tremendous Pokemon for tier 4 in my opinion, and between Magic Bounce and everything, it just does exactly what it needs to.
Xatu is one of those Pokemon that I have never liked using, but always respected. You know, I played a lot of 5th Gen UU back in the day. It was so frustrating to go against because it's just such a good Pokemon. Magic Bounce is such a good ability. It really, really... Oh my god, I don't know what's happening there. I'm so excited to see what you draw. But it really messes with your opponent, you know, trying to think, how am I going to get hazards up? You know, if they even bring the Xatu, like, when am I going to be able to pick my spot? They can bring it in at any point. Then they need to try to figure out, okay, so the Pokemon getting up hazards, is it going to have moves that can hit the Xatu as it switches in? As this is a Pokemon that does have, you know, really, really nice immunity, you know, the immunity to ground types, which is going to help Zeraora out even more. It is a decently bulky Pokemon. It's almost always going to be invest on the bulky side. It does have U-turn as well, which I really, really love in a Pokemon like this. You can switch it in, bounce back hazards or stop hazards from going out. U-turn, gain some initiative, go into any of our really, really powerful wall breakers, and all of a sudden they're in quite a bind, and we're sitting pretty, and we're feeling pretty good about it. Now, I think the only thing I dislike about Xatu as a pick is I don't like drafting too many Psychic-type Pokemon, and I have a problem where I love so many Psychic-type Pokemon in the draft, but this felt like the absolute perfect mon for us at this point. And because I'm a little bit less familiar with Xatu, I am going to look it up. Ben, how good is this thing offensively? I feel like it's sneaky good offensively. Not incredible, but better than you'd expect.
It's mainly not something people properly prep for, so that's what makes it good, especially in draft. But it still has potential. One of the sets now, because I'm pretty sure it's new with Xatu, is you can run the... Yeah, it got Cosmic Power this gen. So you can run Calm Mind, Cosmic Power, Roost, Stored Power, which is massive. If
so mean.
Any of the teams don't have a solid Dark type, or it's easily one we're able to remove with like our tremendous Wall Breakers. Because if you didn't know, I think we have a few Wall Breakers on this team so far. Just a few, but nothing too crazy. So yeah, just Xatu able to have that potential is nice, but other than that, it's really just going to be the Magic Bounce user that gives us amazing pivots into those breakers, and really helps us out with opposing fighting types, for example, and that ground immunity for Zeraora, like you already mentioned.
Yeah, and I think the final thing just to mention here is that 95 special attack and speed, much better than I feel like a lot of people realize until they start prepping. And the addition of heavy duty boots is just going to make this even better when it comes to getting rid of hazards and just, as it will be our defogger as well as the magic bounce user, don't even have to worry about switching into rocks. And I feel like a lot of the time people are able to deal with Xatu a little bit better, sneakily get up rocks, and then it's just tough for them to, deal with it. So now that Ben's
magic bounce animation.
Oh yeah, no. Now that he's really getting crazy with the animations, and he has 1 second. I need to add a little something to this drawing. I feel like it's not complete. It is a rocket ship after all. Okay, there we go. Xatu blasting off again. Next, the fact that we got this Pokemon next is crazy to me. I feel like this is a steal and makes our team, offensively speaking, terrifying. And Ben, what is that?
Wait, what is it, John? I actually don't know. It's Chandelure. That's right. It's getting lit up in here. We have a tremendous wall breaker, once again, in Chandelure with a fire and ghost typing. This gets 2 out of our 3 for our fire, water, grass core, which is pretty important as well. Not as important as Dragon Fairy Steel, as I believe, but it's a very solid core nonetheless. Ghost also gives us a spin block immunity, which is great. So if we get up hazards with like our Bronzong or Mamoswine, they are there to stay at the moment. If they only have a spinner, we can solidly go into Chandelure. That is huge. And then also, ghost types are just so threatening this generation because you don't have to worry about pursuit. Look at his smug face knowing he doesn't have to worry about getting pursued by a T-Tar this generation. Chandelure is living its best life at the moment, even though it's dead. So, with its insane 140, 145 special attack stat, I think
something
it's 145.
Like that. Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, we're just going to be able to bring this like Specs or Scarf most weeks and just break teams, which is huge. We can also have the availability of running Calm Mind for a set. Like Sub Calm Mind is very solid on Chandelure as well. Running that with like leftovers and stuff like that. But in general, we're really just trying to hit hard with this thing where we need to. That's the general basis of our team, if you can't catch that drift so far. So Chandelure does a great job in doing that. We're also able to get a trick off, just like with Xatu. This Pokemon has access to trick, to where we can, if we're facing like more of a fat team or something like that, we can trick a proper check, like a Choice Scarf or Choice Specs, and really limit what they want to do for the rest of the game, which could be pretty big. So I'm a big fan of Chandelure. I haven't drafted it as much recently, but I have used it before, and it definitely does its job whenever you decide to bring it.
Yeah, I've always loved Chandelure. It's one of the first Pokemon I really fell in love using in competitive Pokemon. Again, going back to those 5th gen UU days, and it's such a reliable, scary offensive Pokemon, and I feel like it's only getting better and better as time goes on. I really, really love, how a lot of Pokemon like Chandelure and, as I found the last season with Galvantula, just get so much scarier with the possibility of running heavy-duty boots. Just knowing that this is a Pokemon we can bring in time after time after time, taking no damage, and every time it's going to be a nuke. And if we don't have that, Specs, dead. Choice Scarf, things are dead. Or sub setup, sub disable. I mean, there's so many things this thing can do, and at the end of the day, it can also just do the old kill all of your Pokemon because pow and ow. I don't know what is happening here, but I think I like it. Oh, it's fun glasses. Wow.
It's the Choice Specs.
Wow, what a time. This is great. I am having fun. Okay. Now we're on to the part of the draft where I wasn't as excited because it wasn't like we were getting things that ruined everyone's life and were all slam dunks. It was more, let's fill out things we need and draft responsibly and smartly. Woo.
This is where John started having less fun. That's basically what he's saying. But yeah, we had to pick up a few necessary things to round out the team, because obviously we have pretty good offense, but we had to get reliable bulk, pivots, etc. And this is where we were suffering from quite a few snipes when it came down to it. So luckily we were able to pick up this next Pokemon to at least help out with some bulk and give us more hazards, which is pretty big, and a grounded poison type, which is really, really important, and that is going to be Garbodor.
And yeah, this Pokemon is super, super important for our team. We needed a ground. I think you're drawing this one, pal.
Yeah, I know. I'm getting ready.
Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure. But grounded poison types are incredibly important in Draft League. It's one of those things I think is more slept on. As for me, if you play a lesser opponent, and honestly in this league, the competition's really, really fierce. I don't think there is going to be anyone that fits that description, but if you play maybe an unsuspecting opponent, maybe someone with a little bit less experience, you can just beat them if they don't have a grounded poison type, if you have toxic spikes, because you can just play around them, slowly whittle down their team, pick them off, maybe with priority later on, something fast. We have Zeraora, we have good priority, we have terrifyingly strong Pokemon. Just being able to set up toxic spikes, set up spikes with this thing. We already have stealth rocks. We have all our hazards. No one's going to be able to get up toxic spikes against us easily with magic bounce and this. That's super important for us. Another nice thing to switch in on fighting types, which is really great. And also just having a really nice ability like Aftermath. When you throw Rocky Helmet on this thing, get hazards up, Aftermath, you can absolutely decimate an offensive physical Pokemon that's trying to ruin our lives and make us sad. Throw this thing in, and it pairs really well with the Bronzong, which is really nice.
Yeah, Garbodor, I like the ability just of having dual spikes on this thing is pretty huge.
Yep.
And Aftermath just makes it so reliable for a potential lead and everything like that. So it really just does its job well. It's not really there to stay in the game for the entire battle. It's really there just to throw out the trash, and then you can take care of the rest, so to speak.
But it's going to do what it needs to do, which is fantastic. And a Pokemon that might not do what it needs to do because it's just kind of bad is the next Pokemon. And Ben, I do agree with the pick. I do like the pick. I'm being a little bit harsh on it, but this is definitely for you to explain more of Leafeon.
So Leafeon is the grass type that we opted to go with. John isn't completely sold on it, but it is for a tier 5, which we have to grab. And I feel like Leafeon really worked out the best for this. The reasoning is because most of the grass types that you're getting in like tier 3 and below, they're not pure grass. They're mainly like grass poison. You do have ones like Decidueye and Delmise. Those were already taken at this point, and personally I'm not a fan of some of those either way. So you had stuff like Vileplume and everything like that in tier 4, but we already planned on Garbodor, so we want to get something that can be a solid ground resist, once again, for the Zeraora. Because even though we have an immunity in Bronzong, and then we also have Xatu, at the moment, like an Excadrill can just run right through us, for example, or something like that. Like any kind of like gravity, or like a ground type that can get gravity, if that still exists, or Smackdown, that's going to be really annoying to deal with. So we really want to get Leafeon, and by we, I mean me. So one thing we missed out in Sylveon, like we mentioned, is the option of Wisp passing into Bronzong, as well as potential Cleric. Leafeon still has that as an option. It has just very similar moves that Sylveon does, and it's just a little bit more angry, as you can tell. So Leafeon it's really like bulky defensively. It is base 130 defense because they decided to put that as the 130 stat for a grass type for the evolution, which is questionable, but we take those. So just like Wish passing with Leafeon's gonna be pretty big. It still gets decent coverage. It's not the best, but at the very least, it's gonna be able to Wish pass and be fat if we needed to. And it still has 110 in attack. So, and with the hidden ability in Chlorophyll, allowing us to potentially be like SD with the Sunny Day set and get a sweep that way. That could be pretty big. Definitely benefited more from Z moves in the past gen, but I don't really want to dive into Z moves. So Leafeon still has the potential of being offensive, but more so just a roundabout of just being a Wish Pokemon. Heal Bell Cleric, I think, is mainly what I'm trying to go for. What does your word mean?
Evolution.
Oh, it's just Big Sean, but a Pokemon.
Right, yeah, Evolution. Evolution.
The way you spelled it makes it look like a shampoo.
Yeah, it's both. Leafeon can do a lot of things. And Leafeon is better than it's not a good Pokemon. It's better than I give it credit for. And especially in the Draft League format, the beautiful thing about this format is it doesn't need to by itself be a fantastic thing. It just needs to be able to do what we need it to do. And it absolutely should be able to do that. I think that 95 speed is going to shock people. And it hits way harder than you'd think. And that 130 defense doesn't make any sense. I don't know why they did that. But it's going to be good. So those all positives, and getting this at this point was really nice. Obviously, there's a few other grass types we had our eye on earlier in the draft, but I mean, with the success we had early on, I feel like these final Pokemon, they fit the team perfectly. They're hopefully going to do what we need them to do, and I don't really have any complaints. I just But I do think this next pick, I want to give a lot of credit to Ben, as I really, really love drafts in, Pokemon, but any sort of sports ball, whether it be the real draft or just playing on a video game and making my own draft happen. I really like drafting for value. And one thing that I really love doing in Pokemon drafts, and I think it's one of the smartest things to do, is looking at everyone else's teams and making a calculated risk. Now, Mandibuzz, our next Pokemon, we needed 100% on this team. It was something we decided, this is a 100% need. Now, we noticed this multiple rounds back, but Ben did the research, looked through the other teams, and oh my god, what's happening?
It's its neck, don't worry.
Yeah. He made the call that no one else is going to go after Mandibuzz just with the points they have left, with, the roles they already have on their team with flying types and dark Pokemon. We should be fine. We waited on it, got other things we felt like we needed, like the grounded, poison type, getting, Wish Pass, a Cleric, a grass Pokemon that would work. And we were able to scoop this up in the second to last round, which is really incredible considering this Pokemon is impossible to kill. Yeah, I hate facing it. Oh, he's fat. He's real fat.
This bird thick.
Oh, he big thick. Or she. She very thick. But Mandibuzz.
Oh, it's actually always a she. Mandibuzz.
Yes, it is. And she's thick. Very, very thick.
She thick.
We'll say it again. Thick. But another Pokemon like Xatu that does have U-turn, which is really, really nice. Faster than a lot of wall Pokemon as well, which is really cool. This and Xatu, both can U-turn around. Both are going to be sponging hits. This obviously gives us an immunity to Psychic-type Pokemon, which is amazing. I've seen many people, us included, trying to beat people with just Stored Power, Calm Mind, Acid Armor, Cosmic Power, or Recover. Some shenanigans of just one attacking move being Psychic, and the worst type of setup, and it's Ben, I don't like us for even doing it, and I don't like anyone that tried to do it in general. It's awful.
It's fun.
Yeah.
If you don't draft a dark type, you deserve it. Dark type is something you always need in the draft.
It is very important. I feel like this is one of the few Pokemon right now that does have knockoff as well, which is really nice, along with having Defog, which is going to be really nice and reliable for us. But knockoff, obviously, incredible move, incredible in the draft league format. And I guess one more time, thick.
Very thick indeed. And one thing that I don't think you covered is that we were extremely Ghost Weak.
I knew that we needed this more than anything. I'm focused more on the drawings than the actual analysis. That's on me, and your drawing it's impeccable, man.
Thank you.
This is something.
So, originally we had Drapion on the plan and everything, but then we had to move around to where we could still grab all the other necessities. So, when I saw the lower ones in Leafeon and Garbodor and stuff like that, we couldn't afford the Tier 3 Drapion, but we still needed a Dark type later on. So we decided to budget and get the more important Dark type in Mandibuzz, because that also gives us more removal, which is big, and this thing just helps out more versus the annoying Ghost types. I believe it was our good buddies, Leo and Shuckle King, who decided to pick up a double Ghost in Dragapult and Gengar, which was absolutely terrifying. So running around with no Ghost resist or anything of the sort is a terrifying idea. So that's why we made sure to get Mandibuzz. It's purely for the fat and then the hazard removal and just having that dark typing. But it's just, like John mentioned, it's going to be so hard for teams to kill. Pairing this with Bronzong is going to be so good, and Primarina as well, for example. So this thing is just going to really round out the walls that we need and the removal, and we get another U-turner, which, like we mentioned, is huge for all of our breakers. So Mandibuzz is going to do a tremendous job every week, and Heavy Duty Boots is such a tremendous buff for this Pokemon. Just being able not to worry about rocks and coming in defogging, or because 25% is a lot of health for Mandibuzz, because it's going to be eating your hits. So.
And I think the last thing to mention is it gives us just another Pokemon that's going to fit so perfectly with our first pick, Zeraora. Obviously, electric types have one weakness. Now we have a second bulky, flappity-flap thick thing that is going to be able to switch in on all of the ground Pokemon. And the one Pokemon I'd be more scared of with a Mamoswine, don't even have to worry about that, which is absolutely beautiful. But the final Mon on the team, which at this point, it really doesn't matter if you draft something in the final round that you bring to a singular game and it does anything, that's a win. And I actually feel like we've gotten a Pokemon that we're not going to bring often. Well, I mean, I guess we could, who knows, but most likely won't bring it often. But I am pretty excited to use this in a few different situations.
So I definitely see us bringing Persian at least once a game. Like just one game at the very least.
Once a game.
Wait, once a game. Wait, let me think about that. Once per season, because we're only gonna have 7 battles. Of course, it's gonna be a short season with the amount of teams we have, because that's more entertaining. But Persian's got a lot of utility. The main focus behind drafting for what it had in the tier 5 is it just met some things that we needed to cover. It really helped out our speed tiers. Before Persian, our speed tiers went from 97 at Haxorus all the way up to 143 at Zeraora. So now we have Persian at 115, which is very helpful. This helps us for the ghost types as well, just having an immunity if we really want to opt to bring Persian. Having another U-turner, which is very nice. We get another knockoff user. That is a very pink cat. And it has pretty good tech. It can run other things. Like it does get Psych Up, it does get Last Resort. Might see something like that one week, you never know. Other than that, it also has Nasty Plot. Oh no, John! Control C. Okay. So we can run a Nasty Plot Technician set one week if we want to. I don't really know how much it benefits from that, but this is also just a substitute because originally I brought up Drapion before, but the dark type we wanted was Alolan Persian. Yeah, that didn't happen. So we're going to get OG Persian instead, and Giovanni's going to come in and make us stacks. John, how are you forgetting the most important part of this Pokemon? It's Moneymaker.
Wait, does it? Oh, I was thinking Meowth still had that.
Don't they both? Oh wait, it's just the dot, isn't it?
I think so. Neuro. Wait, no, I got this. Wow. Is this what you wanted?
That's exactly what I wanted, and no, it actually doesn't have the coin. It's just the red dot. Oh well. So we have Meowth for tier 5. No.
Alright, no, you said Moneymaker, and this is my Moneymaker.
Yeah, because we're gonna bring Technician Payday Choice Band, and it's gonna catch everyone off guard, and we're gonna make bank.
And if it works at all, whoever we play, embarrassed. They're probably leaving the format forever. If it doesn't work for us, I mean, we're just cool for even attempting to bring it. It's a win-win at that point. I mean, we truly can't lose with... We have a Meowth, for God's sake. I mean, come on.
That's right. All right. So, well, in the end, that is our 11 Pokemon, John.
It is. Now, some would say this was a little unnecessarily long, and the drawings were ridiculous. And to those, I'd say you're a dork. Dork. This was fun. I loved it. And I'm very excited to do this with Ben. We thought this would be a fun way to introduce you guys to the league, because it's supposed to be, more for fun. Now, we're going to be taking it very seriously. Ideally, we go undefeated, win the championship, buy ourselves a trophy, engrave it, and then we celebrate. And that would be great. But at the end of the day, we're doing this because we enjoy doing Draft League stuff together. Friendship, actually good, and it should be a fun time. So hope you guys are excited. We should have said this in the... We'll really emphasize it in the first video we do, but it is going to alternate on channels.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was... The three... Whoever's listening at this point actually cares a lot, so that's great. It's not many, but this will alternate on channels. I'm assuming the first one will be on my channel, and the next week will be on yours.
Sounds fine to me.
Okay, so week 1 will be here. And then I will make sure to emphasize that throughout. And that's enough from us. We will see you in that week 1 battle. It'll be great. And until then, peace.
Bye, people.